Hello, my name is Vito Bell. I'm a music major going to school in North Carolina, and this is the second video in a series of 5 videos discussing the pentatonic modes. So this video in particular is about Shang mode. During this video, we are going to start out talking about Shang mode, getting to better understand it. From there, we are going to discuss practice techniques, things that I do that help me out. And last but not least, we're going to do an optional short guided practice session, which is where I will run you guys through what I do to practice these, and that have worked for me in the past. So, getting right into things. So, the best way that I've found to comprehend and understand the pentatonic modes is to relate them to diatonic scales. In this particular example, we will be using the minor diatonic scale. We're doing that just because Shang mode has a lowered 7th scale degree, which makes it sound minor. And it's very similar to the minor diatonic scale. So let's listen to the minor diatonic scale. All right, now let's listen to Shang mode. All right, so if you haven't noticed it yet, they are just about the same. So the only difference between the two is that Shang mode is missing the 3rd scale degree as well as the 6th scale degree. It is missing May and Lay. Let's hear that again. Let's listen to the minor diatonic scale. And Shang. To visualize that, let's look at this little chart down here. So as you see, we have seven pitches. This is the diatonic scale without the May and Lay. And what you have left over is Shang mode. This is a really great way to get to understand this mode as well as all of the other pentatonic modes. And thinking about this really helps me practice and learn these. So let's listen to this example. Skipped. A really great way to practice this scale, singing this scale, using this little chart here, is to every time you hit a rest, either just imagine the note or think about the note really hard, or maybe even sing it under your breath, and just do that until you understand it well enough to do it without doing that. Moving on, another really awesome tool that you can use to find Shang mode on a piano is using the black keys of the piano. So, Shang mode is, you could say that if you were to play it with the black keys, you would start on G sharp. So starting on G sharp, down here, if you play if you go and only play black notes up an octave, so G, A sharp, C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, just playing the black keys in an octave, you have Shang mode, as long as you start on G sharp. Try watching the keyboard while I play this example. See how it is only using the black keys within that octave? Let's do that again. So that is a really helpful way to quickly find this mode on a keyboard if you're in a practice room and or you're getting to understand the modes in relation to each other, because If you can recall from the last video we did, gong mode starts on F sharp. Oh. Minus all those missed notes I just played, but that is a really awesome way to get to understand this mode better. So I believe that is the end of the first section of this video, where we discuss what the mode is and what it is in relation to the diatonic scale and the other modes. So moving on, we'll talk about practice techniques for this mode. So what I like to do is I like to just go straight to the black key approach, and I'll just play the keys over and over again. I'll play the scale. The purpose of this being really getting into the feel of the mode and realizing what makes it different from the other ones, what makes it different from diatonic scales or diatonic modes. So I like to do this several times, if not a lot of times, and just play within that key and just really get the feel of it and understand where the leaps are. Talking about understanding where the leaps are, the next thing I use is this graph. So I will sing it using this graph and kind of singing the skip notes and understanding where the leaps are, singing them underneath my breath or humming them or imagining them, and using that to kind of create a foundation for my understanding of Shang mode. So after that, all that is left is to go through the process of getting yourself away from the keyboard. So I believe that it is very important to stop using the keyboard as soon as possible in order to learn this as quickly as possible. So what I like to do is I just like to sit down at the keyboard and play the scale over and over and over again, and listen to it really intensely. After doing that for several minutes, I'll start singing along with the notes while I play them. And I'll do this for several minutes as well. Whenever I feel like I know the scale to a comfortable degree, I will slowly start to phase out the keyboard. So in doing this, sometimes I'll only play do and so while I sing the scale. And then maybe other times I'll only play the first two or the middle two or the turn or the skip notes. You can really just play around with this and figure out what works best for you. And going from there, the only step left in that process is to take the keyboard away completely. And that is the whole goal of the practice session, is to eventually get away from the keyboard and understand this on your own. So I believe that concludes the second section of this video. Let's go on to the guided practice session part of this video. So you can pause this video and do whatever you would like to while it is paused. You can follow along with me. You can take screenshots of any of this too if you'd like. Let me zoom out, and I'll get rid of this keyboard so you can see. If you'd like to take a screenshot of this just for practicing, I work off of this whenever I practice these. All right, so we will now oops, begin the optional guided practice session. So beginning at the top, I like to just play the scale a whole lot. So really try and hear the lowered 7th scale degree and internalize the leaps in between re and fa and so and te. One cool thing that I like to think about when I practice this scale in particular is the fact that it's kind of almost in sections of 2 notes. So it goes 1, 2, skip, 1, 2, skip, 1, 2, skip, 1. You know what I mean there. Skip, 1, 2, skip, 1, 2. That's kind of how I like to imagine this scale. It's kind of being almost sounds like a trotting horse, or a kind of just a swaying mode. Alright, so this is when we'll begin to start singing with the keyboard if you feel that you have fully immersed yourself in the sound of this scale. Here we go. Do, 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 re, fa, sol, te, do, te, sol, fa, re, do. Do that on your own for a little bit. And I'll go ahead and do that again myself. Get do in my head here. Do, re, fa, sol, te, do, te, sol, fa, re, do. Alright, so as I discussed earlier, one technique that I like to use is I will only press the keys for do and so. So let's go ahead and do that. Do, do, re, fa, sol, te, do, te, sol, fa, re, do. Like so. No pun intended. No L, I mean. So, try and do that on your own for a little bit. You can pause the video. That's a very helpful thing for me to make sure I don't lose do while I'm singing. Alright, and from here we'll move on to singing the whole scale without the piano. I'll demonstrate. Do, re, fa, sol, te, do, te, sol, fa, re, do. Alright, that is the final step in this practice session. So some notes to go over at the end. Overall, this video is not supposed to fix any practice problems or be the only thing that I do or you do. This is just really to open your mind to the possibilities of creating your own practice methods, kind of like I created mine. And I can't even say that I created mine. I would say that I just stole it from a lot of different places. It's just whatever works for you best, definitely do that. This practice video and other practice videos in general, they're all supposed to be like training wheels for your learning. The whole objective is to get away from the training wheels as soon as possible while you're practicing. So try and challenge yourself with that. And it's better to mess up in a practice room than mess up during a test. So just jump right in, and don't be afraid to mess up when you first start doing these. Another thing to think about is doing these all throughout the day, you know. At any point in time while you're walking to class or taking the bus or anything, you can think to yourself, oh man, what black key does Shang mode start on, or gong mode, or any of them? You know, that's a very simple way to keep your mind active on these and keep you thinking about them. You can also think about the leaps, or which scale degrees are being left out. So you could test yourself on which mode is missing may and lay. Maybe you could create flashcards. You know, anything that works for you is what you should be doing. So try and use this video like that. Other than that, I believe we're done. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. And yes, thanks so much, and happy practicing.